Sabalenka, Rybakina to meet in Australian Open final. World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka to meet former Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina in first women's Grand Slam final of 2026 at Melbourne Park. Belarusian Aryna Sabalenka powered into her fourth Australian Open final in a row with a dominant 6-2, 6-3 win over Ukraine's Elena Svitolina on Thursday, in a politically charged encounter. Top-seeded Sabalenka will now bid for a third crown at Melbourne Park in 4 years, and fifth Grand Slam title overall, against Elena Rybakina at Rod Laver Arena on Saturday. Recommended stories. List of 4 items. List 1 of 4. Senegal and Morocco handed fines and bans after AFCON final farce. List 2 of 4. Mbappé blasts Real Madrid after Champions League loss at Benfica. List 3 of 4. Mourinho's Benfica drag Real Madrid with them to Champions League playoffs. List 4 of 4. Barcelona claim Champions League last 16 spot, but it's the playoffs for PSG. End of list. I just cannot believe that. It's an incredible achievement, but the job is not done yet, world number 1 Sabalenka said on court. I'm super happy with the win. She's such a tough opponent and has been playing incredible tennis the whole week. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, for which Belarus has been a staging ground, Russian and Belarusian players have been banned from representing their nations at the Grand Slams and tour events. Like other players from Ukraine, Svitolina does not shake hands with opponents from Russia or Moscow's ally Belarus because of the war. An announcement was made before the semi-final at Rod Laver Arena, and a statement flashed up on a big screen saying there would be no handshake, asking fans to respect that. The two players also noticeably kept apart for the pre-match formalities and photos. Svitolina has been vocal about the strain of playing the two countries' players, and said she hoped to bring her nation light at the Australian Open after a tough winter. The 27-year-old Sabalenka, however, crushed those hopes in a furious display of raw power. She became the third woman in the professional era to reach the Australian Open decider 4 times in a row, following Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley, 1971-76, and Martina Hingis, 1997-2002, who each played 6 finals in a row. Gutted not to make it through tonight, Svitolina told reporters. Of course, it's very difficult when you're playing a world number 1 on fire. While 31-year-old Svitolina was comprehensively defeated, she fought hard from the first ball to the last. The 12th seed started with tenacity, thumping a forehand winner down the line on the first point returning serve. Sabalenka wobbled, giving up 2 break points with a loose backhand, but blasted her way out of danger. There was early tension at 2-1 when Svitolina was awarded a point mid-rally, with Sabalenka penalized for hindering the point with a late grunt. Incensed, she demanded a video review, but the point stood. She channeled her frustration into breaking Svitolina, then held for a 4-1 lead. Pinning Svitolina well behind the baseline, Sabalenka grabbed 3 set points and converted the third, roaring, "Let's go!" after a sizzling cross-court backhand winner. After 41 minutes of earth-shaking power, Sabalenka's weapons finally misfired. She dropped the opening service game of the second set with a clutch of errors, raising cheers from a crowd yearning for a contest. But Sabalenka steadied herself, breaking Svitolina twice in succession. Svitolina never dropped her head and earned a break point when trailing 4-2 to put the match back on serve. Sabalenka was not to be denied, though. After thrashing a forehand winner down the line to save the break point, she proved unstoppable. Grabbing 2 match points with a huge serve, Sabalenka closed it out in style, swooping forward with a forehand cross-court winner to book her chance of claiming a third trophy at Melbourne Park. Rybakina overcomes Pegula, sets up 2023 finals rematch. In the second semi-final on Thursday, Rybakina set up a rematch of the 2023 Australian Open women's singles final with Sabalenka with a 6-3, 7-6, 7 defeat of 6th seed Jessica Pegula. Rybakina, the 2022 Wimbledon champion, needed 1 hour and 40 minutes to eliminate the American to advance to Saturday night's final showdown with Sabalenka. Sabalenka has an 8-6 advantage in head-to-head meetings with Rybakina, the pair splitting their 4 meetings last year. Rybakina won their most recent match at the season-ending WTA Finals in December. Fire versus ice. Sabalenka and Rybakina set for a Melbourne marathon. On a radiant summer evening at Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne, the spiritual home of tennis, the stage is set for a collision of two of the most formidable forces in the women's game. World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka and Elena Rybakina are primed to reignite one of the fiercest rivalries in modern tennis in the 2026 Australian Open final, a rematch that has captured the imagination of tennis fans around the globe. This isn't just another championship match. It's a story written over years of explosive serves, thunderous ground strokes, moments of brilliance, flashes of tension, and two athletes who have pushed each other to the limits again and again. Tennis How They Got Here. Sabalenka's relentless power run. Aryna Sabalenka's path to the final was a straight sets showcase of her sheer dominance. In her semifinal, she dismantled Ukrainian veteran Alina Svitolina with brutal precision, 6-2, 6-3, reaffirming why she's currently tennis's supreme force. Her serve, forehand, and unstoppable aggression painted a portrait of a champion in full flight. In doing so, she became only the third woman in the Open era to reach 4 consecutive Australian Open finals, an extraordinary testament to her consistency, power, and drive. Sabalenka's tennis is often likened to holding a dagger, direct, powerful, and unyielding. She attacks every set with an almost visceral intensity. Her run through Melbourne this year has been marked by not a single set dropped, a rarity that underlines how much she has elevated her game. Rybakina's all-court revival. Across the net stands a very different kind of threat. Elena Rybakina marched into the final after an electric semi-final performance against Jessica Pegula. With her booming serve, often clocking well over 180 miles per hour, and ferocious two-handed backhand, she dismantled one of the toughest competitors on tour, closing out the match 6-3, 7-6, 7. The tiebreaker was a nail-biter, but the Kazakh star's nerve and shot-making ultimately proved decisive. Rybakina is the quiet storm, cool under pressure, deceptively graceful, and lethal with her arsenal when unleashed. Her journey to the final, unbeaten in sets, speaks to her confidence and resurgence on tennis's biggest stage. Cross Swords Rivalry Reborn. This final isn't just any matchup, it's a rematch of the 2023 Australian Open final, where Sabalenka prevailed in 3 electrifying sets to lift her first major trophy in Melbourne. Since then, these two have continued to trade blows in some of the sport's most memorable clashes. Sabalenka holds a slim advantage in their rivalry, but their head-to-head tells a story of ebb and flow, momentum swings, and two warriors who refuse to yield. Their styles couldn't be more contrasting. Sabalenka's explosive aggression against Rybakina's measured power and precision. Where Sabalenka can bulldoze you off the court with sheer force, Rybakina will often absorb, redirect, and dictate with surgical accuracy. When these dynamics collide, the result is drama.